What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Rhea Ellen podcast. It's Rhea, your host, and today I'm just going to be talking about motherhood, pregnancy, conceiving, labour, postpartum, the old shebang. And I hope you guys love this. Please like, comment, subscribe. Right, I'm on the wrong thing. Please share and let me know what you think. And yeah, love you guys. What's up, peoples? I've actually returned to my sofa. I know I look like I'm in a studio, thanks to my husband, but I've returned. Now, my last video, just quick backstory, as always, you know, guys, I can't help myself, but my last video, there was something wrong with the sound. Apparently the freaking monitor, what's this called? Mic stopped, and Lloyd was annoyed because he was like, you should have told me. And so the sound sounded really bad. So if you did watch my last video, God bless you, we put subtitles. I say I didn't do a damn thing. Lloyd put subtitles, so hopefully it was a bit more clearer. It sounded like we took all the furniture out of our house and there was nothing left. I need to take my watch off because people are messaging me and I just don't know if I've got what it takes. Right! So anyway, I wanted to make a video today because I was watching Melissa Wardrobe. Everybody knows Melissa's Wardrobe, right? And she was talking about her birth story. And I firstly want to say, Melissa, you're an absolute goat if you're watching this. You're a freaking legend. You're hilarious. You're just... And the fact that you're a mum as well now, it's just such a blessing. So I was going to say go and watch it, but it's gone. So there's nothing to watch. But basically, she was talking about how she had endometriosis. Did she have endometriosis? But yeah, she was talking about her journey to motherhood and how her journey was basically, and how there was so many ups and downs, and like by the blessing of God, she has her baby boy now. And it literally sparked a thought in my head that I've actually not come and spoken to you guys just about in general about how mothers don't get their flowers with an S. Like, I feel like mothers should be given annual leave for just being a mother, because what the heck, there's so much that goes into trying to conceive, actually making it all the way to the freaking due date or near to the due date or full term or whatever people want to call it. All right. There's so much that goes into it. And I feel like I haven't really delved into it. Well, I have probably in separate videos, but I was like, no, this actually is a mausoleum, like what we actually go through. So if you didn't know, I'm Rhea Ellen. Rhea Ellen. Right, let's put my phone on Do Not Disturb because this is getting out of hand. Right, how do we do that? Lloyd's updated my phone and I don't know where anything is. Do Not Disturb. If you don't know, my name is Rhea Ellen, because you know I can never be serious for a second, especially if I've got caffeine in my stomach. I should not be drinking that. I had pre-workout this morning and now I'm drinking a coffee. It's giving unhinged. I'm going to be jumping off the walls in a second. Okay. So, if you don't know, I'm Rhea Ellen. I have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. I've got boys. I don't know if I spoke that into existence because in one of my videos, this is way before I had kids, guys. Way before I even thought about backing it up on Lloyd. Do you know what I mean? In that way. So I actually said in one of my videos, like, oh, I don't have time. I've got my 2 boys. And what happened? Mans has got 2 boys now. You see it. So I feel like I need to just be saying, you know, I ain't got time, I need £1 million, and maybe it will just appear in my account because it's not giving loads of zeros. Do you know what I mean, guys? Anyway, so I've got 3-year-old and 5-year-old boys. I had 2 under 2. She made it out of that. And I feel like I've got quite a bit of experience when it comes to popping kids out of my vajayjay. So who better to speak to you about it than moi? Firstly, disclaimer. Oh no, not disclaimer. Public service announcement to all the people who feel the need to use their BO breath to say such things. Now, if you are one of those people that go up to women and say, when are you going to have a baby? When are you going to have more kids? I hope that you turn into a dirty pigeon, because the beak that you are using to project such negativity and outlandish behavior, because firstly, number one, who actually sent you to be talking about my womb? You don't know what people have been through. You don't know if people are trying to conceive. You don't know people. You don't know if a woman is trying to conceive. You don't know if a woman has just miscarried. You don't know anything. You don't know if the woman even wants to have kids. There are women in this world that actually don't want to have children. And I really rate it. I not rate not having children because, you know, each to their own. But I really do respect women that come onto like TikTok, Instagram, and they're like, I do not want to have kids. Or they say, I'm one and done. I respect it because society will make you feel like you have to have 17 kids, but society won't help you with it. You don't know women's journey with conceiving, and you don't even, yeah, like I was saying, okay. Yeah, no, I really respect women that are open with saying that they don't want children or they don't want any more children, or what, like, I'm just really open for it because, like I said, society will make you feel like you need to have 1,500 kids, but society is not paying for your children. And they also make you feel like if you are wanting to go back to work, depending on what role you're in, they want you to work like you don't have kids, and they want you to, like, a lot of jobs, like, thankfully my job is very flexible, but a lot of jobs are like, this is the time that I want you in and out, and I want you in the office 9 days a week. No, basically feels like 9 days a week, 7 days a week, 5 days a week, and I don't care. I don't care if you have kids, you know? So it's a lot. And I needed to come and talk to you guys about things I've learned, my journey, just the whole shebang. So we're going to actually go through it. But anyone who feels the need to use their dirty, dirty mouth to ask women when they're having more children need to go to prison. Okay, you should have to pay a fine. There should be a fine for using your mouth for the wrong things. And maybe people would actually shut up, because people, even people say to me, when are you having a girl? When are you having a girl? I'm not. Now what are we going to do? Because if I have a girl, are you going to babysit her? If I have a girl and I have postpartum depression, are you going to take me out of that depression? If I have a girl, are you going to pay for her milk? If I have a girl, are you going to lift up my boobs from that have gone, my nipples are now touching my kneecaps? Are you going to give me a breast lifting edition? Are you going to give me a breast lamination? No, you're not. You're not. So face your front. Even if you are, it's my body. And you don't know if I have miscarried with a girl, you don't know nada. And I've actually started to say to certain people, like, I will have another child when you have your first. Or I will have another child when pigs fly. Okay? Thank you. So, I've actually written down all my little notes, guys. And actually, funny enough, when I was actually writing my notes, my kids were on top of me and stuff. So it was kind of like they were really in tune with like the whole topic of today. Lovely. So, I broke it down to so conceiving, having to track. So with conceiving, right? So many women struggle with conceiving, and I feel as though people don't realize how hard it can be for some women. Some women can like really struggle with conceiving. They have to go down the IVF route, and then even then they just struggle to actually have a baby from IVF. Or some women have a baby, and you know, the first time they conceived it was easy, and then the next time they want to conceive again, it's been taking like 7 years, or whatever the case. Like, every journey is different, and I really do feel as though people don't deep how hard it is for some women, you know? Now, for me, I was really anxious about getting pregnant and being able to conceive, because you don't know if you can conceive. You don't. Like, it's not like when you hit 25, you get a freaking letter through the post and it's like, you are able to conceive here, conceive on this day. Like, there's no, or have sex on this day. There's no like idea of what's to come for you, like if you're trying to conceive. When we wanted to have my first, I downloaded the Flow app. I mean, I already had the Flow app anyway, because periods, they've usually got me in a headlock, so I needed to track my period. So I already had Flow, and they had like a section on Flow where it says like trying to get pregnant or what the case is, and it will basically tell you like your fertile window and when you need to start backing it up on your husband. And basically I was backing it up on Lloyd. Mum, if you're watching this, yes. I was backing it up on Lloyd every day of that fertile window, okay? Because I said, hello, I want a baby. And obviously, Lloyd wanted a baby too there, you know what I mean? So we were, you know, practicing making the love, you know, to really make sure that we're using that fertile window properly. Now, there's some women that still do that. They do that and they still struggle to get pregnant. So yeah, like, and even when we were thinking of having kids, we had to think about, does Lloyd have the sickle cell trait? Does Lloyd have sickle cell? Do I have the sickle cell trait? What's Lloyd's blood type? All this stuff, because if I've got the sickle cell trait and he's got the sickle cell trait, our child is going to have sickle cell. So it's also stuff like that. Like, I feel like a lot of women sometimes just have kids with anyone, and it's like, brethren, you don't know what you're setting up your child for. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, and then I took folic acid, he took folic acid. He didn't need to take folic acid. The doctor was actually laughing because she was just like, she made you take folic acid? And Lloyd was like, yeah. And I was like, listen, I said the baby must come immediately. We must do everything that we can. So we were both taking folic acid with orange juice. That's another pro tip. If you're taking iron tablets, folic acid, whatever, take it with orange juice and your poo-poo will be very, very thankful, okay? It won't be giving you piles. You won't be screaming and be thinking, oh my gosh, my bum, and all of that, you know? And also, if you are, I'm just jumping all over the place, but if you are about to give birth, right, and after you have your baby or whatever, drink some orange juice, drink some slim tea, you know, the teas that have senna leaves, make sure that you drink some tea, because you see that first poopity-doopity? That first poopity-doopity feels like you're giving birth to your child again through your ass. Yeah. And there's so much that I feel like people don't tell you, midwives don't tell you, just the whole, you go to these freaking antenatal classes and nobody's actually speaking the truth upon the truth. And I feel like I was very, very blessed to have my cousin and my mum who were just like, listen, the road is gonna be foggy, but it's gonna be all right. Do you know what I mean? And I think if you step into motherhood knowing that it's going to be a challenge, but you will get through it, you will be fine, okay? You might not be fine up here mentally all the time, but you just take the days where you can, you know what I mean? When I found out I was pregnant, I had the same symptoms of when I'm about to come on my period, and this is another mahogany. You don't know if, are my nipples hurting because my period is coming, or are my nipples hurting because me pregnant? Which one is it? So I think I was in denial for a very long time. I was like, yeah, my period's coming, and my periods were quite irregular. That's another thing, like, that's great about the Flow app. This is not an ad, by the way. Flow, if you want to give me that freaking flexi, whatever your new membership is called, if you want to give it to me for free instead of me paying £2.30 a month, let me know, because look at the way I'm plugging you. Everybody's going to be backing it up because of their fertile window. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, that's another great thing about Flow. You can track your periods on there, and obviously I sound like someone who's just come out from underneath a rock, because I'm sure there was loads of people who been using period trackers. Okay, maybe I'm just not the one. Anyway, so I was tracking my periods on there, and I was like, oh god, my periods are irregular. So it was like, oh, last month I came on this day, so it's probably coming. I was literally just like, my period is coming, like it's fine. And then I did a pregnancy test, and then it said, darling babe, you're pregnant. Obviously the test didn't say that, but I basically felt like the screen was shouting at me. When I found out I was pregnant, I was confused. Even though this is what we were doing, we were backing it up, weren't we? With no protection, okay? We were backing it up, we were doing it all. But I was like, wow, this is really a reality, you rabbity. I was like, this is actually, LOL, like we're actually gonna be parents. I can't even keep my white t-shirt clean. How am I going to raise a whole child? And here I am with two. Lolin. Anyway, so I remember Lloyd was like, shoot, I called Lloyd, I was like, LOL, I'm pregnant, babe. And he was like, huh? I said, I'm pregnant. And he was like, oh my, I can't remember what he said. But he was just like, oh, sick. Oh, wow. Okay. Like, I'll call you when I finish my shoot, whatever. And I was like, cool. Yeah. I literally felt like a teen mum. Like, and I was 24, 25 at the time. But I literally felt like I was 15. Because I was just like, I'm a baby girl with no engines. Like, I just didn't feel like I was equipped. I still don't feel like I'm equipped. And like I said, Mans has got two now. You see it. Oh my gosh. So you find out you're pregnant. You're either happy, sad, scared. The emotions are all over the place. I was excited, but super duper scared, because I was like, I'm going to be pregnant for 9-10 months and I've got to keep this baby alive. As in, I'm keeping myself alive by a thread, actually. Like, you know, when you think that, like, day to day, sometimes it's hard to even see the light at the end of the tunnel. And now I've got to continue life, as in work and all them things there, on top of keeping myself healthy to a point where the baby is going to feel all right. So, okay. So I was really, really nervous about that. And I just felt like, whoa there, this is a madness. Like, do I work out? Do I eat sushi? Like, what do I do? What can't I do? What am I allowed to do? Like, you've got all this information. And it's like, one person is saying, yeah, sushi's great for the baby. It will make the baby slime right out. And next people are like, oh no, it's got too much, it's got too much omega or something like that. It's going to hurt the baby. There's so much information out there. And it's like, who do you listen to? But with me, I was just like, I'll listen to obviously the people who have, that I know, that the mums that I know that have had kids, and also use my brain in certain situations. Like, do I need to eat raw sushi right now? No. And also a lot of it was like talking to my midwife about everything. Like, I had her on WhatsApp, Olga, if you're watching this. I don't think she's even a midwife anymore, but literally you were a godsend. I would message her every minute, like, can I have this? Can I have that? Can I have this? And she was like, yeah, if you want. And then I continued to work out my whole pregnancy, but we'll get into that. Anyway, so went to our first scan, and that, you see that moment when you go for your first scan is insane, because you're at that mark before the 12 weeks. Now, guys, please excuse me if I'm getting things wrong, because my youngest is 3. I have no clue about labor, and I don't know. To me, like, I actually feel like I didn't even do it, because I'm so far removed from that and the newborn thing that I actually can't remember. But cool. I feel like I was so far from, I think I was 8 weeks pregnant, went for a scan, they were like, everything is fine. But then you're like, oh, sugar plum, there's actually a baby inside there. Yeah? And also I feel like when you're 8 weeks, it's giving bloated. It's giving she's eating too much ciabatta. She's eating too much. She's bloated. Like, it doesn't even look like you're pregnant. So it's like, you can't even like cup your belly or anything to be like, sorry guys, excuse me, can I have a seat? Because you don't look pregnant. You know what I mean? You just look bloated, bless ya. Aw. So, and like nothing fits, but like not in a cute way. It just feels like you're just gaining weight, but like the baby's like the size of a freaking piece of sand. Anyway, so so they told me that there was a baby there. They told me that the baby was fine, everything was fine, he's sitting right, all them things there. I was like, oh my gosh. So time went on, continued going to work, continued working out. The reason I continued to work out, because I was constantly scared about turning into Respucia. Like, I literally thought I was going to be Respucia from Norbit, because I was like, I gain weight in my sleep, as in I wake up and I've just braved in the air and I've gained 4 pounds. Yeah. So I was just like, I cannot take the risk of not looking after myself this pregnancy. Weird cravings that I had were, I don't eat meat and I wanted Big Macs all the time. I wanted chicken. The baby, he wanted what he wanted, but it's mad because he's 5 now and doesn't eat. So it's like, when you was in my belly, you was eating all these delicious cuisines. You've come out and just want to eat beige foods, plain pasta and all those things. It doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? So yeah, I had weird cravings. I didn't really have any sickness. Morning sickness. I was gonna say motion sickness. There's something wrong with me. I didn't have morning sickness. I just felt really nauseous every evening at 4 p.m. Really random. But 4 p.m. I would be like, yep, nauseous, and I would have to eat like oranges. But they would have to be cold oranges from M&S or Waitrose. I'm not talking, I'm sorry, it had to be like the quality. You know, the ones where it's like from the south of France. You know what I mean? Like proper picked from the tree oranges. Like, it wasn't a joke. And I would message Lloyd and be like, I need M&S oranges. And he would obviously go get it for me. And I would say to my mum and everyone that was around, I need this. There was one time I needed Chinese, but it was Chinese from Peckham. Because the Chinese from Peckham, I'm not even going to get into it because I need to gatekeep that. So I hope nobody finds it. But basically, the rice is like red and it's proper. So I called them and I was like, I need extra chili. It was serious. And that was like a craving where like I started to foam out the mouth because wow. Anyway. So, I went on, did everything, continued life, and this is what the mad thing is: when you're pregnant, your life continues. Like, it's not like just because you find out you're pregnant, you start maternity leave. Sweetheart, darling, if you're working, you're actually working all the way up to your maternity leave. Or if you're lucky enough not to get sick or anything, you work up to your maternity leave. But there's some women that have to take off time because they've got preeclampsia, or they've got there's like so many things that you can get. Like, what's the one with in your back as well? Oh, I can't remember. Maybe load up on the screen. But I swear it begins with an S. I can't remember. But a lot of women go through so many different things in each trimester. And I think society makes women feel like, oh my gosh, you're pregnant, so you should just be like glowing and happy. And a lot of the time, the glow is sweat and discomfort. So it's like you're having to really adapt so quickly to the changes in your body, the fact that you're carrying this baby, like dealing with high blood pressure, all these different things that you might have from being pregnant, and you're just supposed to be just happy and enjoy it. And I feel like if you're not enjoying it, it's okay. It's actually okay not to enjoy it. It's actually okay to not like being pregnant. You know what I mean? Because you're a human being. You're allowed to express that, like, actually, I'm not having fun. Because you guys know I always say that. Most of the time, I'm not having fun, and I just want to have a joyous life. You know what I mean? Cool. Next scan happened. Life went on. I continued working, like I said. This wasn't a remote time in our lives. So this was obviously before COVID. So there was a lot of like going into the office still and just still being on my feet. Went for my second scan. Second scan was calm, but then I feel like every single scan I had, I was anxious after it. Because I was like, because you're holding your breath, because you're like, okay, from the first scan to the second scan, that period in between, you're like, okay, there's a baby in here, I've got to look after myself. You get to the second scan and you're just hoping, like once they start to do the ultrasound, you're just hoping that everything is fine, the baby's still there, all these things. And then they scan you, and then God willing, everything is fine. And then you're like, oh my goodness, yeah, there's actually, he's growing. And like, eventually he's going to have to exit the arena. Like, it's actually crazy. So had my second scan, everything was cool. Everything was cool. And then obviously when you hit 20 weeks, you get to find out your gender, right? So I found out he was a boy. I was like, oh my, I didn't even have an idea. I didn't even really care if it was a boy or girl. I just wanted a healthy baby. And I remember when the woman said that, the nurse said that it's a girl. Rhea, are you manifesting? Rhea, shush. You said you're not backing up again. You better stop it. I remember when the nurse said it's a boy, and I wasn't shocked because Lloyd's got 4 brothers. So I was like, I'm a little bit outnumbered. I've got 2 sisters. I'm a little bit outnumbered. So I wasn't shocked. I was just praying for a healthy boy. Cool. Time flies. We're hitting 38 weeks. By 30 weeks, guys, I was over it. I was uncomfortable. I couldn't sleep. Like, I had a pregnancy pillow. That's another thing. If you don't have a pregnancy pillow, what the hell are you doing? Because even when my kids were born, I still had that pregnancy pillow in the bed. And then eventually it was like, Rhea, I can't even see you at night because the pregnancy pillow is literally third wheeling. So I had to get rid of it. But it would still be in the bed. You know what I mean? So pregnancy pillow wasn't helping. I was constantly up peeing. Like, everything was just moving mad. And I just felt like I just wanted him to get out. But I had a whole 10 weeks left. And I think that's what's crazy, is that last stretch is a mazzoline. It feels like you're pregnant for 14 years. That last 10 weeks is like, get the baby out. And I don't know, some women love it. And they're like, oh my God, like, I just don't ever want to not be pregnant. I love it. I did not like it towards the end. I just wanted, not my body back, but I just wanted the uncomfortable feeling to go. Anyway, so 38 weeks come, 39 weeks come, 40 weeks comes. And I believe that, you know, around the time they say to you, like, if you feel, if you don't feel as many kicks as you usually feel, you should come in. So that was my case. I went in, they checked me over. They were like, yeah, he seems fine, but we're going to keep you in. We're going to induce you. And I was like, yeah, my lovely. And this is another thing that I would honestly say to any woman who's pregnant, wants to be pregnant, whatever, is to do your research, but also take things with a pinch of salt, and also listen a lot to the positive birth stories. I had 2 very positive birth stories. I thank God. I thank God. I thank God. Like, God held my hand through through my pregnancy, my labors, he held my hand and still holds my hand all the way through. And I am so blessed because my labors and my pregnancies were good. Like, my second one was high risk apparently, but I just feel like the doctors were just chatting breeze, to be honest. They said that my son's got a big belly. I mean, so do I. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's probably just inherited from his mum. Big bag, big. I'm telling you, I'm greedy. So it's probably he just has the same gene. If you're going to do research, really take in positive things, especially if you are, you know, just going into labor and stuff like that. Like, it's important to have examples of like positivity and just go into it thinking, no matter what, I'm going to see my baby at the end of this. Like, pray to God that everything will be okay with you and the baby. And yeah, like, I think that's what I would advise. And to also know that, like, you are not in control of your labor, your body is. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of the time women have like this like set plan, like, I'm gonna have a water birth and that's all I'm gonna have. But it's like, no, it's literally what your body needs, if that makes sense. So you could say you need a water birth, but your body's just not feeling comfortable in the water, and then you need to, I don't know, be on the bed, or you need to be on your side or whatever. So I think, have a plan, of course, of how you want your labor to be, but that's not the be all or end all. And also know that, listen, if you end up having a C-section, having an epidural, having probidinol, I made that up, probidinol, did I make that up? Did I make that up? If you end up having to have drugs or gas and air or whatever the case is, or a C-section or whatever, please remember that you carry that baby for 10 months, and it doesn't matter how the baby comes out of you. It doesn't matter. If you apply for a job or you meet new friends or whatever the case is, does anybody say to you, what birth did you have? The only person that's really going to ask that is your like when you go for your 4-week checkup or whatever, they'll say to you, did you have a natural? Even when I take the kids to the doctor, they ask me, like, was it full time or whatever? And I'm like, he's 3, like, doesn't matter right now. But those are the only kind of people who need to know that for the advice that they're going to give you. Do you know what I mean? But when you're meeting new friends and everything, it's not important, darling. It's not important. It's just like if you decide to breastfeed or formula feed, nobody cares. Did you breastfeed or formula feed? Did you have a C-section or a natural birth? It doesn't matter. In the grand scheme of things, it's literally a minute detail. But I completely understand when mothers feel like they were robbed of like the labor that they wanted, and it can be super duper traumatic for some mothers, to the point where they're like, I don't want any more kids, because I feel like a lot of doctors and stuff sometimes in the NHS have so many pregnant women that it's just kind of like in and out. We've got beds, we need to just get these babies in and out. And I think sometimes if you have the means, you should go private. Like, if you're able to afford to go private, you should, because there's more care, because obviously you're paying for the service. It's more, I don't know, it's more one-on-one. And I think even if you wasn't paying for it, it's a bit more focused on you and your needs. And I think sometimes a lot of it is like overlooked because the nurse is just thinking, oh, my shift is finished, I gotta go. Like, bro. So anyway, I was induced. They put, not the balloon, but they put like something in me, and that obviously brought on my hormones. The hormones were back to back. It was insane. I remember being on the phone to my mum and just being like, sir, thinking that I was in labor. Darling, they checked me, I was 1 centimeter dilated, nothing was happening down the noon charge. So I was just like, right, this is it. And I cried because I was just like, I'm so upset. Like, I thought that this was it, and it clearly wasn't. So then I was sleeping, woke up. Also, this was in COVID time, so I could only have one birthing person with me. So Lloyd was there watching wrestling, bless him. I've actually got a picture of him just sitting with his laptop watching wrestling. We're going to get on to picking your birth partner and all them things there, and actually picking the right father to your children, because that's another boom game, all right? Woke up, my waters broke. I said, ha. It felt like a gush. I said, I mean, I've got decorum, but why am I pee-peeing on myself, you know? I didn't actually feel like my waters broke like that you see in the films where it's like a gush of the freaking River Thames coming out someone's nooner. It was literally just like a oopie. I said oopie. And I remember saying to the midwives before this, please check me, please check me, please check me. And they were like, oh, you're fine, you're only 4 centimeters dilated. One of the women, I will never forget you, okay? You're lucky I don't remember your name, but she was an auntie. I think she was Nigerian. Sorry to any Nigerians, any Nigerian friends that I have, but speak to your auntie, please. She was basically shoveling salted popcorn. I know it was salted because I'm sure a little bit of a crumb touched my lip, because only mad people eat salted popcorn, okay? She was shoveling salted popcorn into her mouth whilst checking me over. Now, I am not even going to get into it, because if I get into it, I'm going to have to ride out, and I'm going to have to just get all my friends on BMXs and just run everyone down, because it's just not fair. Like, my firstborn, they think, I feel like nurses and doctors and stuff like that have this perception of, oh, it's your firstborn, you don't know anything, we know everything. So when you say that you're in pain, especially as a black woman as well, they're just like, no, your pain threshold's fine. Like, you're smiling and you're saying you're in pain, but we all handle pain differently. Anyway, I basically wasn't listened to in that moment, and I was really looking back, like I wish that I don't know, advocated for myself more, but I do think that then falls on to your birthing partner. Like, your birthing partner needs to be able to speak up for you, because in moments where you're having contractions and stuff, you don't have the words, you don't even have the sense to even know where you are. So you need to make sure that the person that is in the room with you, whether it's your husband, your boyfriend, your sister, whoever it be, needs to know that they need to advocate for you, and they need to like say to the midwife, can you leave the room for a second, let me speak to her. Do you know what I mean? Like, make sure that your voice is heard. And Lloyd was really good in that way. He was just like, can you check her over? Can you check her over, please? So they eventually checked me over, and then they were like, you are 8 centimeters dilated. Bear in mind, I'm downstairs. The delivery room is upstairs. So they were like, oh my gosh, we've got to go. And I said, oh, do we, Susan? Do we need to go? I said we needed to go already. All right. So anyway, one memory that I have is them pushing me through all of the rooms, and my head just like doing dirty wine, girl, dirty wine. I was literally doing dirty wine on the wheelchair, because I was just like, this gas and air has gone straight to my brain. I literally was losing the will to live. Got to the arena, got to the delivery room, and they put me on the bed. And I remember coming off the bed, going to sit on the bed and falling to my knees and looking at the wheelchair. There was blood everywhere, and I said, oh my God, she's coming. So I got onto the bed. My mum was there. I don't know where my mum appeared, because remember I said I was only allowed one person because it was the COVID times. So my mum was like, listen, darling, you're going to push out his head. It's going to burn like hell. It's called the ring of fire. You've got this. It's going to be fine. Don't scream. So I said, all right. So I started to push. Bear in mind, guys, I've had no painkillers. Like, I was just full throttle open. I said, ha, hello everyone, this is my Nuna. Pushed him out. That first pop of his head, I said, whoa there. It felt like someone poured lava down my noons. Pushed him out. So it was like 2 pushes and he was out. And I remember looking over at Lloyd and my eyes being blurry because of the tears. And it was just such a beautiful moment. And I was just like, thank you, God, so much. I was completely out of it. If I actually show you pictures, I actually want Lloyd to put a picture up here, young of me. And I'm like, the baby. But my eyes are completely closed because I was exhausted. So they stitched me up. I had tears and stuff like that because it was all a bit of a madness. Good grief. And I looked and it was actually like a scene out of Grey's Anatomy. All of them were there and were just like analysing my noons. Yeah, they're all looking at my vagina. And I was just like, at that point, I feel like at the point in your pregnancy when you're about to give birth, you just don't care. You've been touched and prodded so many times that it's like, everyone come on in. Student nurses, everyone, the lollipop lady, the postman, everybody come in and look at my Nuna. I don't mind. So got stitched up or whatever. Then I had to give birth to the oh my gosh, what is the name? Placenta. I had to give birth to the placenta. That actually felt worse than actually giving birth because they had to like pull it out like this. Can you imagine? Dun, 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 dun. It felt like a a scene out of Mission Impossible. Dun, 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 like tug of war. Anyway, so that came out, and then I literally got up and left the hospital. And I really don't think I've deeped, even to this day, how much of an underrated blessing that is. Like, you know, you say like, oh yeah, she's home, she's had a baby, she's home. Some people don't come home. Some people have their child in the ICU for months on end. Some women, I keep saying people, but it's women. Some women have their children in the ICU for months on end. Some women have such bad tears that they have to stay in like for weeks or days or whatever the case is. Like, I was blessed to not have to stay in the hospital, and I literally just was. They were like, "Oh my God, like you're walking." I was like, "Yeah," but looking back, like not everyone. Like, you've just pushed out a baby out your noon. What the heck? So I remember I went to the toilet and I had a shower and whatever, and I remember looking down at my belly like, "Oh my God, it's so weird." And like, you're so used to feeling kicks, and there's no kicks anymore because the baby's kicking outside. Like, it's actually in this world. Crazy. Showered, brushed my teeth, washed my face, and then we chilled for a bit, and then we were out of the hospital. And you go home, and that's it. Your life has begun. There's no annual leave. This is what I can't deal with. I feel like after you have your baby, there should be a period of time, right? 3-4 days. And I know this happens in Korea, I think it is, where there's like hospitals where obviously you pay for the hospital, but there's like hospital hotels that you can go to and stay in for like weeks. And the midwives live there too, and they come and they take your baby, they look after your baby, you have time to pump, all this stuff. Like, I don't even necessarily need that. I just need just like a 5-day break to the Bahamas. Yeah, I mean, I'll bring the baby with me if I had to, but I just need a quick 5-day break to the Bahamas after I have a baby. Is that too much to ask for? Who can I speak to about making this happen? Because I feel like imagine like you've had rest, but in the Bahamas, yeah? You come back, you've got a tan, and you're ready to start mum life. I'd be ready. I can pump while I'm sitting drinking from a coconut. I'd create the bestest milk going. They'd probably be asking me to sell it on the beach. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's just straight into motherhood. They put the baby on you, you do skin to skin, and then it's straight like, has he latched? Brethren, he's never met my nipple in his life, you know? He's never seen this big black dot in his life. Can you just give him a second? Can you give me a second? And I remember one of the midwives came and was like squeezing my boob and everything. And it's crazy actually, because fun fact, actually, my midwife that actually came to like help me with my milk was my ex-boyfriend's mum. And the thing is, I don't think she remembered me, because I was looking at her and she was just looking at me like, what, I'm here to take your milk from your boobs. But she was actually my ex-boyfriend's mum. And I was like, your mum, I messaged my ex and I was like, your mum actually helped me to produce milk. It's actually crazy. Obviously I knew she was a midwife and stuff like that, but me and my ex are cool. Like, I can message him and say that, but it's mad. It's actually mad. Now we move on to breastfeeding, okay? I've actually done a separate video on this. So please, if you need advice about your supply and how to double your supply and all things breastfeeding, then please go and watch my video. I'll put a screenshot here. Okay, and I'll put the link down below as well if you need to like get any advice or anything about breastfeeding, because breastfeeding, I've done it twice and it's a mahogany each time and it's actually insane. Right, so cool. One advice I always say to mothers that are packing their hospital bag, pack some pre-made formula. I'm going to put everything that I'm going to talk about in the bio, because I really want to help mothers and, you know, new mothers, or just as a whole, because I think there's so much information out there, and I really want to say like what worked for me. Right, firstly, for my labor, for the first early contractions, a TENS machine. Buy yourself a TENS machine. It's so good. I honestly feel like it helped me to have a natural birth both times, because it helped me to focus more on the vibrations of the TENS machine rather than the actual contractions. Now, the contractions they hurt. Yes, I don't deny that. But I feel like they were manageable because of the TENS machine. Now, if you don't have the money for a TENS machine, you can actually rent one out on Amazon. If you didn't know this, you can rent one out on Amazon, and they give you, I think, 4 weeks to send it back. Okay, so you can use it, pack it up, send it back. You'll get your money back. Boom. Okay. Second thing I advise is to pack pre-made formula. Now, if you're going to breastfeed, I wanted to breastfeed. My plan was to breastfeed. Even if you want to breastfeed, pack pre-made formula, because I honestly don't believe there's anything in your tutors. There's nothing in your breasts as soon as the baby's born. I don't believe it. And don't get me wrong, some women do they do salvage liquid gold. They do salvage colostrum when they hit like 36 weeks, whatever the case. I'm not denying that there's actually drops in there. I believe that there's something in there. There has to be something in there for milk to come out. But I honestly believe after you've had your baby, your body needs time to be like, oh, the baby's here. Do you get what I mean? And I think sometimes the midwives are very much like, latch on, latch on, latch on. Yes, latch on, get the baby used to your nipple, yada-da-da-da. But also, I feel like sometimes the baby's just sucking, using your nipple as a dummy, or using your nipple and it's actually just passing air back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And the baby's actually not eating anything. Now, some women have great supply. As soon as they have the baby, the milk is streaming out. But that wasn't my thing. I researched and it said that your milk comes in on the third day. Third day he rose again. Amen. Pack pre-made formula, because even if you want to breastfeed, on the moments where you feel like, okay, I'm not producing enough milk at the moment, you can give the baby some formula, okay? It doesn't take away from the fact that you are trying to breastfeed. You're just feeding your baby. Point blank. That's what we're trying to do, right? Keep the baby alive. So give the baby some formula. Okay. Auntie Rhea said, just give the baby some formula. The reason I said to pack pre-made formula is because my experience was they didn't want me to give the baby formula. So they would give me like one bottle and be like, that's all we can give you. And it's like, no, it's not. Because if I didn't want to breastfeed, or whatever the case was, you would have to provide me with the milk, right? At first, you would have to, while I'm in the hospital for the day or two, you would have to give me the milk. And the baby doesn't drink a lot at all. It drinks like a tiny amount. So them giving you a bottle would actually last. I mean, you're not supposed to give the baby it back because of the bacteria on the teat, but you would have to use at least, let's say, like 3. So like acting as if, no, we can't give it to you, was just frustrating me. So I wished when I had my first that I had pre-made formula there, just in case. Cool. Third thing, pump. Bring a pump, a manual pump, even if it's just to pump while your baby's sleeping. You might feel like it's doing nothing, but it's just telling your body, hello, the baby's here, I need some milk. So that's what I did with my second, and my supply was way better because I was pumping from the moment he was born. You can do manual, you can do electric, whatever works for you. You can try both, whatever, just as long as you're telling your body like, bro, the baby's come out of me, let's bring the milk on. So yeah, I'm not really going to get into like much about breastfeeding because like I said, I've got another video, you guys can go watch that. But the main takeaway that I want you to take from what I'm saying right now is please do not let breastfeeding kill you. Please do not let breastfeeding take your mental health, because breastfeeding is such a tedious thing that I think there's so much guilt wrapped into breastfeeding, and I must breastfeed for this long, I must breathe for that, because this person did it for 4 years and I'm only going to do it for 4 days. It doesn't matter how long you do it for. It doesn't even matter if you don't do it. It's your body, it's your mind, it's your decision to do it or not. You know, if you decide that you want to give your child formula from the moment they're born, okay. If you want to breastfeed exclusively, bless please. If you want to exclusively breastfeed, okay. If you want to pump only, okay. Like, honestly, no matter what you do, you're going to get judged from mothers who think that they're the queen of Azkaban. So just do what works for you. Honestly, I remember when I went to a stay and play once, and I remember I was feeding my son. So I used to pump a lot because I wanted Lloyd to be involved as well. I didn't want my son to constantly be on me. I wanted to pump so that when I slept, Lloyd could feed him and all them things. And I wanted him to get used to a bottle. Cool. So we're at a soft play, stay and play, and I'm feeding my son, and someone's like, oh, like formula's not good for the baby, something like that. They mentioned formula, and I was like, this is breast milk. And she went quiet. Her face was like, oh. And I was like, that's because you should have faced your front. You see what happens when you don't face your front? You get welcomed by fire. Like, it doesn't even matter if it was formula. Why are you talking? I'm feeding my child. It's like when people act weird about you popping out your breast. I'm feeding my child. Don't sexualize me because you've got this warped idea of what nipples are for. Our boobs and nipples are for the food of our baby. It's to feed our babies. That's what it's for. So I think if you're struggling with breastfeeding, like I say all the time, do some research, find some information out there, try fenugreek, try having oatmeal every day, fluids. Like, you have to be overly hydrated. You need to eat loads. Like, there's just, do your research on it. And also go and watch my video, because I think I talk about that a lot in that. But, and if that you get to a point where you've done all of that, or you don't want to do that and you want to stop, then stop, because your baby needs a happy mum. Your baby needs someone who is able to look after them the best that you can. And if you're struggling with breastfeeding, you're putting your focus in the wrong place. You know what I mean? It's not that deep. It's actually not that deep. Because when you hit it, when the baby hits 6 months, a year, or whatever, and they start to wean and start to eat food or whatever, you're going to be thinking, why did I stress myself so much? Why did I stress myself so much? Because some people even wean at 4 months. Like, whatever. The baby's going to eventually eat food. You're not going to be breastfeeding. I mean, some people breastfeed until the baby's 16. Whatever, that's your case. That's your prerogative. But your child is not going to need your breast solely for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? So don't stress yourself out. And I wish that someone told me that. Like, I feel like I went through a lot of, like, I made it to a year for both my sons, but there were moments where I was just like, oh, this is the worst. Oh my God. But I did it. But then sometimes I do wish sometimes that I stopped at a certain point, because there was actually no need to be so stressed about that, you know? Because now my kids are 3 and 5. Do you think they care? Do you think they care? They actually laugh at my baby sometimes. They're like, Mummy, what's that? I'm like, I actually fed you from my nipples, and you're laughing at them. They're to my knees because of you two. You see what I mean? You have to take in consideration, some children have tongue ties, so some children aren't able to latch properly because they've got tongue tie. There's so much, like, information as to why things will be a struggle, but you have to do the research, and you have to listen to, like I said, positive stories and everything, and like, take it with a pinch of salt, and also just speak to other mothers, or like, yeah, you'll get it. Yeah, lack of sleep is actually Hamazaline. Me and Lloyd literally did, like, tag team, like, literally slapped each other's hand and was like, your turn. We literally did, like, 4 hours here, 4 hours there. The way that I felt like I was a princess and I was living my best life when I had 4 hours sleep is a madness. Obviously the kids sleep really well now, but wow, it's actually crazy. And you go outside, yeah, and everyone's just continuing to live their life, and you're like, I haven't slept properly in about a year, 2 years, or even, it's actually 2 years, because if you're counting how you sleep during your pregnancy as well, like, it's like, I actually haven't slept properly, and my baby's 1, and I literally, I don't really know what day it is, but people are still just outside, just continuing their life. And that's, I think the crazy thing is that your life does a whole 360, and it's crazy. And I think the reason that I think a lot of mums struggle is because it's hard. That's the first thing. It's hard. It is hard being a mum. It doesn't matter how much help you get, the village, whatever, everything falls onto you because you're the mum. And I think once you realize that you are not going to be that same person, you will be okay. You will be okay. I think when you're trying to search for that same person that existed before you had your children, that's when it's becoming like, bro, that person is gone and it's okay. This new version that's been born is even more beautiful and way more wise than the Riri that was there. And I think when you get pregnant, you envision yourself as you are now, as you are pregnant or before pregnancy, but with a baby. No baby cakes. You are a completely different person. The way that you see the world, the way that you see life, the way that things aren't that important to you anymore. Like, it's crazy, and your focus is keeping this baby alive, keeping yourself alive, keeping your relationship alive. Like, it's just a lot. And I think for me, like, I struggle with everything else. I can mother with my eyes closed. It's everything else. It's expectation of everything else, of work, trying to stay healthy, trying to do things for myself, trying to make sure that the doctor's appointments are booked, trying to make sure that the dentist appointments are booked. Have we got enough cheese? Is there eggs? Do we have oat milk? Is there enough fruit? Like, all these things. Oh, my son's got a school trip next week. Does he have what he needs for that? Oh, it's going to rain next week. Is there a raincoat? What are we doing on the weekend? Oh, have you seen Lloyd's mum in a while? It's just constant. There's 1,500 tabs open in my brain every single moment of the day. And when you go to bed, the tabs don't close, brethren. They just stay open. And the next day you have to see if you can remember of what tabs were which. It's crazy. But honestly, it's such a blessing being a mum. And I think it's important to have the space to say, I am not enjoying this season that I'm in. I am not enjoying the season that I'm in. I'm loving this season. I'm not enjoying this season. Without saying, but I love my kids. You obviously love your kids. But yeah, any mums that are watching this, you're doing an amazing job. And I honestly hope that great things come to you. I also want to do one about childcare, and I want to do one about sleep training. So let me know if you guys want to see that kind of content, because I've got some stories for you. So luckily the kids go to bed at 7. Well, not luckily, but because we've trained them to do that. But the boys go to bed at 7 and they wake up about 6. I mean, my youngest at the moment has just been appearing in the bed at like 5, but he goes back to bed, thank God. But yeah, so they do 7 to 7 basically. And if anybody, I don't know, wants to like hear any stories of how we accomplish such, let me know, and then I'll just do a whole schmurg of it. I'll do a whole content video of it. But yeah, I just want to thank you guys so much for rocking with me. Like I said, I really want to bring back my mum podcast bit, and I also want to possibly do some other stuff around motherhood and everything in the future. So please let me know down below if you want to see that. There's something wrong with me. I've had too much coffee. Now I've got a headache. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I love you guys so much, and I hope you have a great weekend. I don't even know what day it is, what day this will go out, but I hope you guys are all good. And I just want to pray for everyone in this world, because whoa there, there's a lot going on at the moment. So can we all close our eyes, bow our heads, please? Heavenly Father, please look over everyone in the world at the moment. Please hold the hands of those who feel stressed and confused about what's to come in the future. Please guide us to better days. Please guide us to happier days. Please look over anyone who struggles to wake up, anyone who feels depressed, has anxiety, Lord. I ask that you guide them to a brighter place. I thank you for my life. I thank you for my kids' life. And I just thank you for bringing us to this point. I thank you for my voice to be able to do this video today. And I just want to thank you, Lord, for your love and your consistent grace. Amen. Boom. Good night, guys. See you later. Okay, I shouldn't have done that. See you later. Good night.